Gory, just wait till you hear this story. It's a good one, but not necessarily the one you're expecting. Here are 19 reasons to read Dolores Claiborne. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, at Dave Musson on Instagram, and this is the place where I'm going through all of the works of Stephen King and giving you 19 reasons to read each book. If that sounds like something you'd like more of, then do stick around and maybe even consider hitting subscribe as well. Regular viewers will have noticed a change in surroundings. Why? Because I felt like it. That's pretty much it. So this time we're still in 1992 and we're falling down the well that is Dolores Claiborne, a somewhat underrated and underappreciated gem in King's back catalogue. So settle in, let me have a little nip of whiskey and listen up. There might be spoilers of course, but I'm actually trying something a little new with regards to those mild spoilers. Now, thanks to the suggestion of Miguel Leiva, who got in touch with me via Instagram, I'm going to try and group anything that is spoiler territory together towards the end of the 19 reasons, and I'll let you know before we get into spoiler zone. So hopefully more of you can watch at least some of this, and then you can dip out if you don't want the risk of any spoilers whatsoever. Of course, if you want to stay and watch the whole video, you're more than welcome to. But thanks to Miguel for the suggestion, and let me know what you think in the comments if that's a good way of working these videos as we move forward. Okay, sound good? Ready to rock? Nice. Here are 19 reasons to read Dolores Claiborne. So as we mentioned last time out, Dolores Claiborne is linked to Gerald's game by that eclipse, and it's definitely worth reading them close together because otherwise there's a couple of scenes that, well, just will not make sense. So the style of this one is somewhat different for King. There's no chapter breaks, there's no line breaks between paragraphs, and it's all in the first person. It's essentially a transcript of a monologue given by the title character, and it was the first time King had written in first person since he did The Body, which featured in different seasons, of course, from 1982. Oh, it's also written in dialect, Maine dialect to be precise, and, well, yeah, it takes a bit of getting used to. Now, it's wild that this has become such a forgotten book. This came out in the November of 1992. That's the November that is the last but one month of the year. And yet, Dolores Claiborne was the best-selling book of 1992. Not only that, it reached #1 in both the hardback and the paperback charts. And yet, people forget about it. Idiots. So let's explore the hook of this one. Dolores Claiborne, our title character, is a 65-year-old widow who has been accused of murdering her employer, one Vera Donovan, who Dolores has been housekeeper for many, many, many years. Now, it's not a spoiler to say that Dolores did not kill Vera, and her monologue explains exactly what went on. What the monologue also explains is that, as it happens, 30 years or so before, she did orchestrate the death of her quite vile husband, Joe St. George, and we get the full story in Dolores Claiborne, which, as I said earlier, is that transcript of her confession, I guess, to the police. It's such a simple idea, but it is brilliantly executed. Now, although it's Dolores' name on the title, you could make a case that the big character in this one is actually Vera. She is a quite fascinating character. She is powerful and scary, but also fragile and heartbroken and somewhat misunderstood. And she's a really unusual pairing for Dolores, but one of the joys of this book is learning about their relationship and how it grows over the years. It really is fascinating, particularly as both women have dark secrets. Talking Vera, we also have to talk about shit. King loves a good bowel movement, and in this we learn that elderly Vera has got into a little game with Dolores where she tries to wait until Dolores is out of the room before she quite literally shits the bed and Dolores has to clear it all up. It's gross, but also weirdly entrancing. As for Dolores, she's a badass. She is a wholly memorable character that doesn't suffer fools gladly, and she is gonna tell her story in her own sweet time, damn it. So something a lot of commentators point out is that Dolores could well be a representation of King's own mother, not because King's mother murdered any husbands or anything like that, more because of the working class, no-nonsense Maine woman who sacrificed everything and broke her back working multiple jobs to make sure that her children were able to have a better life. Now famously, and very tragically, King's mother died just around the time Carrie came out, so she never got to really see his success. Since then, King's written quite a few mother characters that feel like they could be a representation of his own mother, and Dolores definitely feels like one of them. And because of all that, you will absolutely definitely love Dolores by the end of this, despite everything that she may or may not have done. So King himself ranks this one as one of his personal favourites, and he says it's one of his books that works on multiple levels, and he groups it with Misery and It for that particular reason. Now, aside from the link with Jesse from Gerald's Game, there's nothing supernatural in this one. It's a pure drama, and it is brilliant. Why is it brilliant? Because it was written by Stephen fucking King. And lastly, before we get into spoilers, you may well know that this book was turned into a movie, an excellent movie in 1995, starring Kathy Bates and Jennifer Jason Leigh. But did you know it was also turned into an opera? That's right, it became a 2-act opera that first premiered in San Francisco in 2013, and then there was an updated version of it that came out 4 years later. I know, right? Now, I fucking hate opera, so I will be leaving that the fuck alone. But still pretty interesting, hey? Okay, we're entering mild spoiler territory from here onwards, so if you need to dip out, see you soon. So Vera is suffering from dementia, and some of the scariest moments in this book are when she just freaks out and absolutely fucking loses it over some dust bunnies under her bed. Those scenes are way scarier than they have any right to be. As we hear Dolores' story, we realise just what she and her family have gone through. Spousal abuse, child molestation, theft, and a whole load of shitty times. By the time Joe is dead, you're glad. He is a prick. So it is technically a spoiler, although not a massive one, to say that Joe ends up down a well. But wow, some of those scenes around his death are chef's kiss. Going down a well, of course, gives nods to some of King's other works. Most noticeably, it's an idea he will later revisit in the novella 1922. Talking King connections, quite randomly, Dolores mentions at one point the scissors-wielding Atropos, who we will meet very soon in Insomnia. Another connection, Little Tall Island, where this one is set, is also the setting for King's 1999 TV show Storm of the Century, and that island is also close to Goat Island from The Reach and Jenny from Home Delivery, which are both short stories. So lastly, there are 2 key lines that really sum this one up. We've got sometimes being a bitch is the only thing a woman has to hold on to, and an accident can be an unhappy woman's best friend. Now admittedly out of context, and when you first read them, they're both a little strange, but they become ever so powerful the more you get into this book, and they really do capture the heart of what this is all about. So there we go, 19 reasons to read Dolores Claiborne. Do let me know what you think in the comments about this brilliant and underrated book. And also let me know what you think about the whole clustering the spoilers together at the end and whether that works for you and if you'd like more of that sort of thing as we go forwards. If you like this video and want to check out more, then do spend some time clicking around my channel. We've done every book up to and including Dolores Claiborne so far, and there's a few specials in there as well. There's my personal top 10, my personal bottom 10, there's rankings for the 70s and 80s, there's a complete guide to the Dark Tower, and there's probably some other stuff in there as well that I've just forgotten about. But hey, subscribe if you really do like it, because then you won't miss any future ones at all. And if you want to come and say hi on Instagram and maybe drop me some suggestions like Miguel did about the spoilers, then I'm at Dave Musson and my DMs are always open. Next up is another short story collection to tuck into, but until then, thanks for stopping by and take care.